around, 2 a.m. is when you get your most REM. And this is like where people often get this 2 or 3 a.m. waking. So REM sleep is rapid eye movement, and it's this really unusual state where your brain looks like it's awake, if under an ECG. And you have your body gets sedated in terms of, we call it sleep inertia. So all your skeletal muscles are paralysed, and the only muscles that still work are your eyeballs and your diaphragm and the muscles that give you an erection.
Oh.
We don't know why. But yes, it's the one part of the body that still works. So during REM sleep, there is, what we call is the emotional reasoning. It's your fear conditioning, and there's a really strong forgetting component. So there's all this stuff that happens throughout the day that you don't really need to remember. But I use the analogy of a midnight librarian. So just imagine there's, your personal librarian with a bench, and in comes all these folders. And you look at these folders, and he or she says, oh, that's interesting. That goes in that box.
Ah,
that
what
one
a
goes
great
in that
way
box.
to explain that.
Chuck that one out.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that because you've pushed off your REM sleep because you went to sleep later or you had alcohol or whatever, so these kind of folders pile up on your internal memory bench, and it can make you feel scatty, can make you feel anxious.
Wow.
And what we see is if you keep missing REM sleep, your conditioning of fear changes. So just imagine, like, we're all scared of snakes naturally. There's an innate human fear of anything that looks like a snake, and you're like, ugh.
Yep.
And when you see a snake,
Tracy went through a stage where you couldn't see a snake on TV.
Or in a book.
wow,
I would just drop the book.
You've recovered from that.
Wow.
Yeah, I can see it now. I don't want to be around it.
Could have been a REM disorder.
Oh.
So what we see is that during REM sleep, your body will replay things that really upset you and make you feel stressed out. And it's like you're replaying the movie to try and habituate yourself to that imagery without the fear response. So you're remembering and forgetting at the same time. You're forgetting the fear element, and your brain's like, don't worry, you're still alive. That's not something to be scared of.
Yeah.
And it sort of recalibrates what you consider frightening and what you don't. So if you miss your REM sleep until you had a near snake experience, it was actually a hose, and your brain comes over a garden hose, and your brain says, oh, no, that was just a garden hose. So anything that looks similar to a snake, be very have granularity between snake, garden hose. If you don't do that, you start getting scared of sticks.
This is why with EMDR that they link it to the REM part of your sleep, because you're processing whatever the trauma is that we're working on, because your REM part of your sleep was interrupted or something happened in the way that you process that.
Yes.
So I find that fascinating how you're describing this REM sleep.
So your fear conditioning gets out of whack, and then you become scared of shadows, and then you sort of get this global expansion of your fears. And we think that it could be an element of PTSD is the fact that you wake up during REM from a scary dream, and the midnight librarian never gets to process properly that and put it into don't worry box.
Yes.
It stays on the bench in the heightened alert
and that's why people get triggered.
Yeah. So, and things and what do people do when they've got PTSD? They usually use substances, drink, which is the worst thing you can do because it pushes off your REM sleep, and then or you're getting sedated and you're not really having those. Yeah, it's like literally the worst thing you can do.
Oh gosh, all the people that are self-medicating through substances, and then
you think that it is helping you get to sleep, but it is actually contributing to it. And so what we see often is the midnight librarian will sometimes come across a folder and goes, oh my God, this needs executive direction, and will wake up the boss and say, hey, what do I do with this one? And so this is why people are getting this 3 a.m. waking, because there's unresolved emotional issues that the midnight librarian needs some help with.
Wow.
So
great analogy. I love it.
Yeah. My antidote is you just help out the librarian before you go to bed, brain dump, do a name to tame session, but also put a time next to it. So you say, okay, these are all the things that are worrying me, and you categorize it, and you say, I will deal with it tomorrow in my worry hour. And then at 11 o'clock, I'll call, my psychologist, or I'll call the accountant, or whatever it is.
Whatever the plan is,
but it's really important, because the time then makes the midnight librarian think, okay, yeah, they're serious. They're going to deal with this tomorrow, and it's not going to be left up to me. So the more you can help your librarian, the better.
I agree with that, because I say that to my clients about you, like if they say they're grieving or they're going through a breakup or whatever it might be, and they're really trying to not have that drag through their whole day, I'll say, give yourself a time in the morning where you can really think about it, cry about it, get it all out, and then do the same thing for the, in the evening, or if
Not
you
too
need to.
close to bed.
No. Before you've even started your bedtime routine, you could do it in the late afternoon. But it's more about you're telling your body that's when I'm going to deal with it. Because if you don't, it'll just keep poking through and interrupting your thoughts.
Yep.
But it'll believe you if you honour what you've told kind of your brain, that we're going to do it over here. So we'll give that break now and we'll do it over here. Yep. So I agree with that. That's a great technique.